Y'all doing these love spells. Let me tell you the dangerous part of it. If a person don't want you, and you do a spell to make that person come back, did you know every little thing that person don't like gonna come on their mind? Let's say you got a man, right? The only thing make him mad is when you keep going out with your friends or dudes keep hollering at you. Did you know this how the devil work? The devil would send all them different kind of men to talk to you, knowing your man crazy. All of a sudden, your man want to jump on you, put his hands on you. And men put spells on women too, trying to make that woman stay with him because she fine, she got this and that. I don't want nobody to have him. I'm telling you, some of these women go crazy over a man. And then all of a sudden, different women in your inbox, all of a sudden, all these folks trying to talk to you, she think you cheating, and you done broke her heart so many times. That woman gonna do something to you and do something to them women too. Y'all better be careful playing with this stuff now. It's real out here.
I did a love spell on someone I was in love with and it worked. But what came after, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. I am back with another spooky story. We're gonna call the person who submitted the story Nia. Nia said, I need to tell you something that I never thought I'd admit out loud. We're gonna call her crush Micah. His name was Micah, he had a girlfriend, but however, Nia didn't care. Nia said that she knew that Micah was supposed to be hers. Micah would smile at her sometimes, talk to her a little too long, and Nia thought maybe, just maybe, if she had a little help to help sway him from his girlfriend to her, she would be golden. Nia said that she knew what she felt for Micah was real. And in her eyes, Micah's girlfriend, we're gonna call her Rhea. To Nia, Rhea was just in the way. So Nia had heard about this woman in town that people were whispering about. They said that she could make things happen. So Nia went to the woman and told her that she wanted Micah to love her and only her. Now the woman looked at Nia long and hard before she said, and I quote, I can give you what you're asking for, but once it starts, you can't undo it. Nia said she didn't care, so she said yes because she wanted him. The woman gave her specific instructions on what to do. She needed a red candle, his photo, a little bit of honey, some personal ingredients, like personal item, a prayer over water at midnight, and some of her menstrual. Now Nia says she followed the instructions exactly to the T. She said, and let me tell you, it worked fast. Micah started texting her out of nowhere, and he started texting her more and more. He would find himself showing up where she was at, suddenly telling her that he couldn't stop thinking about her. He even said to her one day that he left his girlfriend, Rhea, out of the picture, gone. Nia said in that moment, hearing that this man done left his girlfriend Rhea for her, she said that, to be honest, she felt powerful. She felt chosen. Until, in one night, Micah shows up outside of Nia's house, crying, boohoo crying. And he just said to her out of nowhere, why did you do this to me? I can't eat, I can't think, I feel you even when you're not around. You tied my soul, I know you did something to me. Then out of nowhere, the man smiled. Now Nia says that this didn't look like his regular smile. It's like his face moved. There was something else inside of him entirely. That's when he leans in and says to her, why didn't you feed it? To be continued. Let me know if you're ready for what happens next, because things only got darker from here. I be telling y'all, do not do a love spell on that man. Make sure you leave a comment for part 2. Before you do a love spell on that person, make sure you listen to this story first. I be telling y'all, stop doing that stuff. So pretty much, Micah shows up at Nia's door, boohoo crying, and he seems different with the smile that he gave her and him whispering to her, why didn't you feed it? He kind of snapped out of that moment. It just seemed weird. So Nia didn't think anything of it and they moved on. However, Micah was obsessed. Since Nia had performed that love spell, Micah left his gal, went to Nia, and he had became everything she's ever wanted. Affectionate, attentive, and constantly by her side. At first, it felt like a dream. But as we know, that dream was quickly turning into a nightmare. So Nia says that Micah stopped going to work. He stopped seeing his family. Nia says this was not at her request, just distanced himself from everyone. And he even stopped being himself. Everywhere Nia went, he followed. She said she would wake up and he would be watching her sleep. He would get so angry if she left the room without telling him. He would throw these tantrums when she didn't answer his text right away. Nia said, what I thought was love was becoming something else. Something dark. And Nia said, when I told y'all he stopped being himself, she said one night she woke up to find him standing over her watching. And when she asked him, yo, what are you doing? He said, I'm just making sure that no one's trying to take you from me. So at this point, Nia started researching the spell that she had done. And through her research, she discovered that it wasn't just a love spell. Oh no, it was a binding ritual. One that not only called on spirits of attraction, but sacrificed part of Micah's will to make it work. I didn't even know that was a thing. Nia said in that moment it's dawning on her that in trying to force love, she had actually broken something inside of him. But that wasn't the worst part. One night, Nia had a dream. A woman dressed in all white appeared. Her face was hidden behind this lace veil, and the lady says to her, you asked for love. We gave it, but love has a cost. Nia woke up that day with on her pillow, and it wasn't hers. And to make matters worse, when she woke up from the dream, Micah, who was sleeping with her, had his arms wrapped so tightly around her, his fingers technically digging into her skin, leaving bruises. He was holding her like he was afraid she would vanish in the middle of the night. She said that same day, Micah woke up on one. If she never felt endangered before, this was the day. That morning, Micah refused to let Nia leave the house. She had work. She can't go. At first, he was asking nicely, hey, can you stay home? Nia said no. Then he started crying, and then he started screaming, and then he was begging, and then he just went silent completely. And y'all remember that smile from part 1? The robotic smile that just didn't seem like Micah's? Yeah, that smile came back. And Nia says, again, it wasn't human. She said he pushed her to the ground, and she woke up tied up in their bedroom. When she woke up, she begged him to untie her, and he seemed remorseful, so he did. At this point, Nia is desperate to contact the woman that did this spell for her. However, when she went back to the woman said that, I told you, you could not undo this. There's nothing I can do for you. You knew the cost of what you were doing. And unless she needed something new, the woman told her to leave and left Nia to deal with this man by herself. And it's from your favorite Haitian homegirl.
Y'all better be careful who y'all lay next to, because your life may just depend on it. Story time. Fortunately, this is not my story. This is my friend's story. And for the sake of this story, we're just going to call my friend Amanda. So me and Amanda met in real estate school. We were only there about 2 months, and we developed like a real friendship. While being in real estate school, we go out, get food together, me, her, and 2 other girls. This particular day, we decide to go to this little pizza joint. Really, only Amanda wants food from this place, so we get her food. She comes out saying that she met this really cute guy, and it just so happened as we're getting ready to leave, he's walking out. So it was like love at first sight. We all are in the car kind of like, oh my God, you know, he even stepped with all of us in the car. So you knew he meant business, you know, telling her how beautiful she is and how he wants to take her out, you know, shooting his shot, coming correct. So of course they exchanged numbers and the rest is history. For the sake of this story, we're going to call old dude Greg. So Greg is like a Spanish guy, probably about 6 feet tall, but he works and moves around a lot. The reason he was out here is because he has a son out here. So occasionally he comes back and forth from Louisiana to Georgia when he's not traveling for work. Y'all, things just start moving really fast with Greg and Amanda. Amanda had just got out of a relationship, and here we are thinking that, you know, God has sent her her knight in shining armor. Now, Greg is going all out for Amanda. I mean, taking her, basically flying her out to Louisiana, getting her all type of gifts, you know, spoiling her, treating her how a woman is supposed to be treated. Now, because of Greg's job, he always would get a room whenever Amanda would come to Louisiana to see him. I'm like the investigator friend. So any news that I'm told, I'm always gonna kind of do my research. I'm also the friend that you come to when you feel like you're tripping, and I give you confirmation that you're not. And I read cards, so let's just say I'm very intuitive. So me being me, Amanda is telling me everything that's going on, and of course I'm rooting her on because where she came from versus the man that stepped in, it's like, okay, one man's trash is another man's treasure, and he doing a damn thing. But some of his stories and the things that she's telling me is not really making sense. So you make a lot of money, but yet y'all are starting to get serious. Fast forward to 6 months down the line, and he's still only getting rooms when you come and see him. That kind of raises a little red flag for me because it's like, do you have a house? Now, both Greg and Amanda are kind of in their 40s. So Amanda's naturally just going based off what he's telling her. One night, it was late at night, and he had to get up and go to work probably 2 or 3 hours. Amanda gets up, goes to the bathroom, but she feels like she's being watched. Now, if you from New Orleans, you from Louisiana, you already know kind of what get down out there. And her senses started kind of telling her like she's not alone. She feels like every move she makes is being calculated or accounted for. It's to the point where now she's spooked. She's paranoid. She can't sleep. All of a sudden, she starts to see shadows like dancing on the wall. And she knows at this point, she's not getting back up out the bed. This story is just too juicy for me not to give y'all a part 2. So here I am. At this point, Amanda is petrified and literally paralyzed with fear. Y'all, Greg is dead asleep. While all of this is going on, while Amanda is sitting here stuck in fear, he is knocked out. She shakes him to wake him up and ask him, like, yo, do you really have to go to work today? He's like, what's going on, babe? You know, talk to me. What happened? So she gets to telling him, like, you know, I'm seeing stuff. I'm seeing spirits. I don't know. Like, I'm scared and I don't want to be here by myself. He kind of brushes it off, like, you know, just try to get more rest. Maybe you just saw something that wasn't there. Trying to rationalize it. Now, a little side note about Amanda. Amanda smoked weed like a chimney. Because she was out of town and Greg didn't smoke like that, she just didn't really feel the need to bring her weed. So usually she would smoke her a little blunt, go back to bed, and let bygones be bygones. But right now, Amanda cannot sleep. Greg has to go to work at 5 a.m. So it's still going to be dark when he leaves. It's safe to say Amanda didn't get any rest after that. Greg gets up, ready for work, walks out the door, and now Amanda is just alone in this room. It's still pretty dark out. At this point, Amanda is petrified because she still feels like she's being watched. She has to go to the bathroom again, and she doesn't even want to let her feet touch the floor. Eventually, 7 o'clock rolls around, the sun comes out, and she feels safe to kind of let loose, go to the bathroom, get off the bed, do what she got to do. Now, all while Greg is at work, Amanda still is feeling like she's being watched. She's in a place where she's more comfortable because she can move around. People are awake now. She's not as scared, but she still has that eerie feeling of something being there. Now, Greg is a freak. I don't mean like, ooh, sexy freak. I mean like, ooh, dirty freak. Amanda would be on her period and he would want to eat her out or do the do. And I mean, like, he had absolutely no problem. If anything, he would tell her he likes the taste of. One time when she came to Louisiana to see him, she was on her cycle and she told him that. She basically let him know nothing was going to be going on and to just let it be. And Amanda later wakes up to Greg eating her box while she got ketchup down there. His favorite excuse would always be, oh, I'm just going to do the top. I'm not going to do the bottom. But it was like he loved the taste of her. That's very important to the story. It even got to the point where Amanda was just like, okay, hey, if you like it, I love it. And they would do the do while she was on her cycle. Comment for part 3.
Hey bestie, what kind of snack do y'all want to do for this week? Let's do spicy snacks. So for this week, try to eat like spicy snacks only. And if you can't handle spicy, do like mild. I have a love spell story for y'all. I know how y'all love a good love spell story. And as much as I tell people to stop doing them, they still do it. And this story come from a person that did a love spell that they saw right here on TikTok. Clearly, she hadn't been following me since 2020, or she would know better. But anyway, we're going to get on with the story. Let's call this girl Tasha. So if you know a Tasha, tag her. So one day, Tasha's scrolling through her TikTok, right? She sees this specific TikTok teaching people how to do a successful love spell. And the person who posted this said that the love spell was foolproof and that the person will literally be obsessed with you. Now, Tasha halfway believes in that kind of stuff, but she also has a crush on her coworker. And I mean, like, that is her man. In her head, that is Tasha's man. Except her man does not notice her. He never speaks to her. Now let's call this coworker Jamal. So Tasha is crushing on Jamal. Jamal is handsome, he's charming, he's funny. He's like the full package for Tasha, except that, he doesn't know that she exists. Now, she saw a couple of these videos before, but for some reason, that specific video made her want to try it because when she looked at the comments was full of success stories. So why not? What could go wrong, right? So the spell was pretty simple. You're supposed to get a red candle, you light it, and you get some cinnamon. See, I just caught myself because I was going to say how to do it, but I'm not, because I know some of y'all are still unhinged and y'all going to think it's okay to do it. But if you know which one I'm talking about because it went viral. Anyways, the next day after work, she went and she purchased the red candle. When she got home, she did the spell. What's the worst that could happen? Again, she did this halfway expecting it to work. So she does this and she goes to work the next day. Except work was different. Jamal, her man, who was always distant but polite, was speaking to her. And not only was he speaking to her, she would constantly catch him staring at her. And I'm not gonna lie, she was pretty amazed. She was like, whoa, I really didn't think this thing was gonna work, but I'm here for it. He started to talk to her more and more at work. He even started to text her constantly. That's so much better that Jamal started to bring her coffee to work without her asking. And Tasha loved every bit of minute of it. Now she could really be like, my man, my man, my man. Until her man started acting weird. First, it started with Jamal showing up to her apartment unannounced. His excuse was always that he just wanted to see her, and it's sweet, It raised like a little bit of eyebrow for Tasha, but it's still like, oh, he wants to see me. And then Jamal started to question her every move, like where she was, who she was with, why is she taking this long to text back. The once very handsome and charming Jamal became very obsessive. And Tasha really tried to brush it off as in like he's just an intense lover. Some people are just like that. And then it escalated. So boom, one night Tasha decided that she was going to go out with her friends, right? They decided that they were going to go to a bar, and that's what they did. They went, they're having fun, they're having drinks, they're having a time. As she's having fun, right, one of her friends' face completely changed. And she's like, what's wrong? And the friend is like, is that Jamal? And when she turned, it was indeed Jamal. He showed up at the bar mad as hell because she didn't invite him to their little get-together. Now, this is why he was mad, and this is why he showed up. But when he showed up and he realizes that one of the friends that Tasha went out with was a guy, that's when it got bad. He tried to yank her ass out of that bar. His jealousy quickly turned into aggression, and he demanded to know who the hell that guy was and why was she talking to him for that long and why is the guy here and she never told him and all of her friends ended up stepping in, including the guy that was there, her friend, and Jamal ended up having to leave. The bar kicked him out. Over the next few weeks, it got even worse, y'all. Mind y'all, this is a testimony. Jamal would blow up her phone, wait outside her apartment building, watching her every move to make sure she's not cheating. Mind y'all, they're not even in a relationship yet. It got to a point where Jamal started to threaten her and himself because he keeps saying that he doesn't know what's going on in his head. He doesn't like it, but he cannot live without her. Now, at this point, Tasha knows why this is happening. She knows what she did. She remembers that spell. Except now, she doesn't really know what to do because she didn't even think this would work. And at this point, she's wishing she hadn't done that. She also ended up mentioning that after this whole situation happened, she ended up finding my page and it made sense. Everything that I was saying was everything she was experiencing. But let's backtrack to the story. This is where it got so much worse because one night, Tasha is in her apartment, right? She's sleeping. She just woke up feeling like something was wrong. Nothing woke her up. She just felt something was wrong. And so she got up to go to the bathroom, and on her way to the bathroom, she sees a figure in her living room. Terrified, she screamed, ran back to her room, and called 911. She locked herself in there. She don't know what's going on, mind you. She's thinking she's getting robbed or somebody's breaking into her apartment, right? And so on the phone with the operator, she gives the police full permission to break down her door if they need to. When they came, it was Jamal. Jamal was in tears. Jamal keeps saying how he cannot live without her. Jamal ended up getting arrested and he got charged for breaking and entering. And he actually did end up going away for a little while because he did express very loudly how he cannot live without her and that he would rather harm himself or her than to live. Tasha ended up having to contact her employer and Jamal's family for help. And long story short, Jamal's family ended up having to move Jamal states away from Tasha. That's how she finally was able to get some kind of relief. But she says till this day, she still be scared that one day she's going to come home and Jamal traveled through states just to break into one of her apartments. Also, she did move from that apartment. And Tasha told me to tell y'all, it doesn't matter what type of love spell you see on TikTok, it's not worth it. It ain't nothing I haven't told y'all before, but I feel like maybe y'all would listen if it's somebody that went through it. She told me to tell y'all to please listen to Blizzy. She's not joking. Till this day, she's still scared for her life because she feels like any day now, Jamal's just going to pop up and take her out. So listen to me when well, matter of fact, y'all don't even got to listen to me. Go do you. I'm telling you not to do it. But if you want to do it anyway, you can become a Tasha. Anyways, make sure you guys are following me on Instagram and on YouTube. Yeah, because if they take this app away, how else are you supposed to get your snacks and listen to my stories? Exactly.
Before you do a love spell on that man, make sure you watch this video first. We're gonna call the person who submitted the story Tanya. Tanya says that she tried a love spell, but she regrets it deeply. So in 2013, Tanya met the father of her 2 youngest kids. His name was Greg. At first, everything felt perfect. He was charming, sweet. It felt real. But as time went on, things started to change. One day he went to work and Tanya started feeling sick, so she took a pregnancy test. She found out that she was pregnant. She was so happy. And she thought that telling him about her pregnancy would bring them closer together. Instead, he beat her black and blue. After that, Tanya got desperate. She so badly wanted to bring back the old version of him. So she searched online and that's when she found the love jar spell. Tanya said that she followed the instructions exactly, down to the letter. And it worked. At first, Tanya says that he became very sweet again, loving. He did things for her that she'd never even expect. She thought maybe, just maybe, the spell just fixed everything. But something still felt off. Tanya said that the sweetness wasn't real. It didn't even feel human. But still, she stayed. And she even did it again when she found out that he was cheating. And once again, the man changed. Once again, became the perfect man. Until one day, he was cleaning up the house and he found the jars. He asked Tanya about the jars and what they were. Tanya lied and said that she didn't know. And that man snapped. At the time, Tanya was 5 months pregnant. He threw her across the room like she weighed nothing. And he beat her unconscious. Tanya said that she made sure afterwards that the baby was okay, and she was. But him? Greg? Yeah, he wasn't okay. The man that she once loved was gone, and something else entirely had taken his place. And that's when she realized that this wasn't just abuse. It was something darker. In part 2 of this story, you will learn how the love spell turned him into something inhumane. If you want to hear how the story ended, leave a comment for part 2. Like I say at the end of every single video, I love you, my abducted human, from your favorite Haitian homegirl. Imagine doing a love spell on somebody, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Please do not do a love spell on that man. And most definitely don't do it 4 times. Part 2, let's continue. So the man just isn't human anymore. So after Tanya moves in with him, she winds up getting pregnant again. But this time with her son. Baby father didn't even pretend to be surprised. As a matter of fact, he said, I knew you were pregnant. I was just trying to see how long it would take you to tell me. And then went on to tell her the exact time and place that the son was conceived. Like it was all a setup. I mean, as he said, I did it to trap you. Well, once her son was born, things got worse. Greg kicked down her bedroom door, tried to smother her with a pillow, held the babies on the floor screaming, I hate you, I hope you. Tanya waited for things to get better, but they never did. She eventually left and moved in with her mom, but Greg followed. He would sit outside her mother's house threatening that if Tanya does not come out, nobody was making it out alive. He done shot at her mama house. He even slept outside waiting for Tanya to come out. This man was outside Tanya's mama house acting a goddamn fool. So much so that the mom started suspecting. Tanya's mom looked at her dead in the face and asked her, "What did you do to him?" And Tanya said at that moment she couldn't lie. She told her everything. And the mom says, "Now Tanya, you are in Memphis, Tennessee. Those types of love spells don't end well. You better clean it up before it gets worse, or nobody is getting out alive." So Tanya says she found a way to clean it to break the spell. And she started to notice a change. Like he stopped coming around, stopped calling, and he didn't even want to see the kids anymore. And honestly, at that point, Tanya was fine with that. And just when she thought everything was done, 6 years later, her son turned 6. She threw him a party. Everything felt peaceful until Greg showed up. No invite, no warning, no nothing. No one even told him about the party. As a matter of fact, she didn't even tell him when she gave birth, because remember, she moved out while she was pregnant with the son. He just popped up and crashed it. So now her and her babies just run to the kitchen to take cover. And her mom just poured salt at the threshold, looked at him dead in the face and said, "Step over it." And he wouldn't. So then Tanya's mom said, "You're not human. You have demons on you, and it's my damn daughter's fault. She did a love spell on you." Tanya did that spell 4 times. Tanya says it wasn't until she got married again that he finally disappeared for good. No more stalking, no more school visits, and no more showing up outside her house. So if anybody is thinking about doing a love spell, Tanya wants you to know, don't. Well, that was the end of that. Make sure you are following me for more spooky content. Leave a comment at the end of this video letting me know what you think Tanya did wrong. Every single video, I love you, my abducted humans, from your favorite Asian homegirl.
This is really fucked up, and I'm so sorry this happened, and I'm just trying to tell them, me speaking from experience, and I've told y'all this story before. If you go back to my videos, you'll learn a lot about me. But I have a tattoo on my chest right here that covers a scar where a man put a fucking sword to my chest and told me to walk into it. When I finally got out of the closet I was hiding in that he was stabbing the sword into, I tried to run out the door. I never made it. He punched me in the back of my head and knocked me clean the fuck out. And I woke up in Lakeland Hospital in St. Joe, Michigan, Benton Harbor. The motherfucker slit my wrist both ways and left me to die. I have the scars on my wrist for the rest of my life to remind me. Even after being released from the hospital and moving to a whole different city, he found me. Everywhere I went, he would leave a toothpick in the fucking keyhole. He stalked me and claimed me as his until the day he died some years ago.
Love spells gone wrong, story time. So Jose and Maria have been married for over 15 years. They own a business, a home, they have 2 children, and Maria is currently pregnant with their 3rd child. Now, because Maria is put on bed rest during this pregnancy, she can no longer go to work. So that means that her and Jose have to hire a new secretary to pull her weight. Now, Susie is 24, straight out of college, very beautiful and intelligent, so she applies for the job and she gets it. But Jose and Susie are talking, they're flirting, and within a couple of weeks, they're in a full-blown affair. But his mother warns him, "You know you have a family at home. You can't be doing this." Jose tells his mom, "You just take care of my wife and baby while I'm at work. I got this. I pay the bills." So 2 months later, Jose and Susie are still going strong in their affair when one day Susie rolls over and says, "Hey, guess what? You're going to be a daddy again. I'm pregnant." His eyes were big as quarters because he knew if anyone found out about this woman or baby, he would lose everything, including his family. So Jose tries to talk Susie into having an abortion, but she says absolutely not. "We intentionally created this child and I'm going to have it." He knew he could not piss Susie off or she could destroy his life in many ways. So he gets the idea to tell his family that he is stressed out at work, bogged down and depressed, and the best thing they can do is pack up and leave the country and just start over fresh. So to keep Susie at bay, Jose lies to her and says, "Look, I love you, and as soon as you have this baby, I'm going to leave my wife and kids and we're going to be together." Susie's in shock. She can't believe that he's ready to make that kind of a commitment. The only problem was he was lying to her, and within a few weeks when his wife had her baby, he packs his family up and moves them to America, leaving a pregnant Susie behind. When they left, Susie is calling Jose's phone, leaving voicemails, texting, blowing him up like, "Where the hell are you?" So Susie tells her mom that Jose has ghosted her, and her mom informs her that Jose has moved his family to America. They're gone. gone. She loses it. She starts blowing his phone up, calling and texting. You abandoned us. I'm gonna tell everyone. He just keeps lying. He says, wait, I did this for us. As soon as I get established and get more money, I'm gonna leave her and then bring you and the baby here and we'll be a family. 6 more months goes by. She's had the baby and Jose has still not sent for her. He just keeps stringing her along. Well, she gets mad and says, look, Jose, if you don't get your ass on a plane and come get us, I'm coming to you. Do you understand? I can't be without you. He said, no, but I hope you understand. I don't want nothing to do with you or your bastard. Don't contact me again. So at this point, Susie is stressing. She has no income, no transportation, no family support, no help from Jose. She doesn't know how she's going to take care of this child. So she went to a local village healer to try to get some help. Susie told the healer, I need a love spell, the strongest one you got. And the healer responded, are you sure you can afford this? Because this is going to cost a lot more than money. Susie got on her knees and said, I don't care. I will pay whatever price it costs. Just make this man come back to me. The healer said, okay, but you understand the price for this. And Susie cut him off. I don't care what the price is. Just do it. The healer said, take this herb, grind it up real fine, add some blood from your menstrual cycle, cut some hair from your head and his, grind it all up real fine, and then put it in his food. He must eat this before or after Schmegs. Doesn't matter which, but make sure he eats it all. Understand, once you do this, that man is not going to leave you alone. She said, well, good, that's what I want. Susie finds out through the grapevine that Jose is coming back to their country just for a couple of days to get the rest of his family's belongings and to tie up some loose ends, and she knows that's when she's going to have to do it. On the day that he returns, Susie put on her sexiest outfit and goes to the airport, and as soon as Jose stepped off that plane, Susie bumped into him and said, hey, stranger. Jose is like, oh, hey. She said, it's okay, I'm not mad anymore. I've gotten over all that. And Jose was dumb enough to fall for it. He thought, wow, I can hook up with her tonight and nobody would ever know and just go get my family stuff tomorrow. And of course, just like we all predicted, he wound up in a hotel room making love to Susie all night. While he was asleep, Susie cut his hair, her hair, and she even took a patch of the baby's hair to make sure it was stronger. She put that herb and her blood in it, mixed it up, and served him breakfast. Jose was so drained from the night before that he ate up every single morsel of that meal. He didn't miss a crumb, and Susie just stood there smiling because she knew she was about to get what she wanted. Susie tries to cuddle with Jose, and that's when he jumps up. I have to go. I made a mistake. We can't do this again. She said, okay, have a nice day. She wasn't mad or worried at all because she knew he was coming back to her. So they leave the hotel, and then Susie sits by the phone waiting on his call, just praying that the spell worked. So 2 days later, Jose calls her and says, hey, I've left my wife and kids. You're all I think about. I want you. I need you. I'm coming back to you. She said, well, good. Hurry. Well, later that day, Jose called her 3 more times back to back, but she missed the first 2 calls, and when she answered the 3rd time, he was screaming at her, where the hell are you? Who are you with? Are you cheating on me? You better not be with another man. Why didn't you answer the phone? Susie thought, that's really weird. He's never been jealous over me before, so it must be a side effect of the spell. That's good because it means the spell is working. But when he arrived 2 days later, Jose's behavior was out of control. He grabbed her by her arm and started screaming, where were you? Who are you with? Why didn't you answer the phone? Then his whole mood changes. He apologizes to her. He says, I'm so sorry. I love you and the baby. I would never hurt you. Please, I want y'all to come live with me. When they get in the hotel room, Susie gives the baby a bath, and then she lays on the bed and starts playing with the baby, and then Jose looks over and says, you love that baby more than me, don't you? You spend too much time with him. You love him too much. You're going to choose him over me. When he gets older, you're going to marry him and be with him, aren't you? Susie said, no, what are you talking about? He's our baby. We created him. We should both love him the same. This man is losing it because of that spell. All he can think about is Susie cheating on him or leaving him. Jose picked the baby up and said, you have to choose now, either me or the baby. Susie said, why? He's our baby. He said, choose. She said, I'll always choose you over everyone. He said, then you won't mind me doing this. And then he opened the balcony sliding door, took the baby out and held him over the balcony. She said, no, wait, what are you doing? That's our baby. He said, but you can't love him and me, so we have to get rid of him. And then he dropped him. Before she could even grasp what was going on, Jose lunged at her, put his hands around her neck, and began choking her until she passed out. When Susie finally came to, she felt the cold wind blowing through her hair. She felt Jose's arms wrapped tightly around her, and that's when she heard him say, Susie, I love you, only you, forever. And then she realized they were falling from the hotel balcony.
Before you do a love spell on that man, make sure you watch this video first. We're gonna call the person who submitted this story Julia. I am back with another spooky story. So like many others, Julia was scrolling through TikTok when she came across various love spells. Intrigued, she decided to try not just one, but multiple spells. A love spell, a binding spell, an obsession spell, and a third-party removal spell. The target of these spells was a coworker named Juan, with whom Julia worked with at a warehouse. Julia says the first love spell took effect almost immediately. She noticed a change in Juan's demeanor. His eyes seemed different, and he expressed his love for her more intensely. As their relationship deepened, he decided to move in with Julia, and Julia herself agreed. Initially, everything was perfect. However, as time passed, Juan's behavior started becoming possessive. He couldn't bear to be without Julia, insisting on constant communication even during work hours. On their separate days off, Juan would wait outside for Julia. He would wait outside the workplace for hours. And that's when she realized that the obsession spell had taken hold. The third-party removal spell also appeared effective, as he wanted to be with her exclusively, moving in shortly after. No one caught Juan's eyes but Julia. Julia says his possessiveness escalated to the point where she couldn't even move or even use the bathroom without him accompanying her. And when Julia expressed that his behavior was overwhelming, he reacted violently. He pulled out a pew-pew on her. Initially, he threatened to do it to himself, but then he flipped the pew-pew on Julia, declaring that if he couldn't have Julia, then no one else could. Terrified, Julia pleaded him to stop, assuring him that she would never leave him. He made Julia promise to never leave him, and out of fear, Julia complied. Julia says despite of the danger, she stayed, and each time she would try to leave, he would threaten her with the pew-pew, reinforcing that she too was trapped. The abuse became physical. He would not only hit her, but he would often use the pew-pew as a means of intimidation. One day, while he was out, Julia came up with an escape plan. She called her mother for help, and during the call, he had unexpectedly returned. And he became immediately suspicious of her actions. You trying to leave, ho? She managed to convince him, though, that she wasn't planning anything. And eventually, he left again. And seizing the opportunity, Julia locked all the doors and waited for her mother to come. He returned once more. But this time, all the doors were locked, so he couldn't come in. He shouted threats, accusing her of trying to leave him, and he was making sure that she knew if you are trying to leave, it ain't gonna be so easy. When her mother finally arrived, she left with her mother and never looked back. She had to move out of the apartment and relocate for safety. Julia says, ironically, we worked together and he filed a restraining order against me. So he filed a restraining order against Julia, falsely claiming that she had threatened his life. When in reality, Julia says it was actually the opposite. She says she prayed to her ancestors, asking them to remove the spells that she had casted. Since then, she's continued practicing magic, but vowed never, ever, ever to do another love spell on another person. She says she learns that love spells rarely result in positive outcomes. Wow, Julia, thank you so much for submitting this story. Thank you so much for submitting the story. If you have a spooky story that you want me to tell, please feel free to submit it to me either on my TikTok DM or my Instagram. Your story. Like I say in every single video, I love you by Abducted Humans from your favorite Haitian homegirl.
Bestie, it's story time, so you might want to go get your snacks. I already told y'all this morning the story was coming, so you should be prepared. And we're also going to do a review from my plug, because my plug came through yet again. So, trigger warning about this story, because it's kind of disturbing. This story is from a country where child marriages are legal, or it's a thing. So boom, there's this little girl, let's call her Susan. So Susan is about 11 years old, so it's safe to say that she's a child. Susan didn't really grow up with too much. Her family was pretty poor. They struggled to eat damn near every day. In the country that they live, a job is not really something that they find. Well, you can find a job, but it's just super duper hard. Like, it's really hard. Her mom is a stay-at-home mom, obviously. Her dad wants to work, but he can't really find a job. So her mom has this little snack business where they make like a snack in their country and they sell it. So like a street food seller. And her dad owns a motorcycle, so he kind of like charges for motorcycle rides, and that's how they get through. Although it's not enough, but that's the most that they could do. Which in terms forces Susan to work at other people's houses in order to also bring some kind of income. So she's basically like a maid or something, right? So one of the houses that she works for, the family is pretty rich. And one day, while she was there working, the family had a visitor, and the visitor came. And she does her job as a maid. She cooks, she cleans, she serves the visitor. And this visitor is a 45-year-old man. And as she's working, this 45-year-old man took a very great liking to Susan. And he was staying over there for about a week or so. So Susan had to literally like serve him every day. And every day that she served him, it seems like he's getting touchier and more lovey-dovey. And again, this is kind of normalized in their country, but again, Susan is a child, so of course she feels uncomfortable because it's not normal, you know? Boom, by like the 4th day that he's there visiting, he makes it very clear to the family and to Susan that he wants to marry Susan because she does such a great job. She would be an amazing mother one day. I know, sick. And Susan tries her best to be respectful because in that country too, women don't really have many rights. So any little thing that she does that may come across as disrespectful, she can get in big trouble for it. Or her family is going to pay for it. And her family already like don't have enough to go by. So she really doesn't want to, you know, upset anybody. Now, before I go on with the story, let me show you what I got from my plug. Look at these cute Celine earrings, y'all. Yup. Again, my plug is always going to come through. She be taking my money and I don't even care anymore. So I'm going to put her information somewhere in this video though. Anyway, so by the 4th day, he's pretty clear on he wants to marry her. Susan is trying to like kind of tell him no without telling him no because in that country, you don't have the privilege of saying no as a woman. So at that point, she's just like praying and hoping that the day that he leaves comes even faster because once he leaves, you know, she don't gotta marry this man. So like by the 5th day, he tells her that he wants to meet her parents because he's willing to pay, you know, for the marriage in order to be able to marry her. And again, she wants to say no so bad, but she can't. And the family that she works for also knows her parents, so they set it up. So boom, this 45-year-old man goes to this little girl's house to speak to her parents, to tell her parents how, you know, he wants to marry her. He wants her to be his wife. They spoke, they had dinner and stuff like that, and then he leaves, right? And after he left, they came to Susan to ask Susan, like, do you want to marry this man? So Susan made it very clear that, like, she doesn't want to marry this man. She's 11 years old. She don't want to marry anybody. However, the amount of money that he's offering could save this family. So they're not really happy about the fact that she says she doesn't want to marry him. Like, what do you mean? This man is offering this much money for you? You're going to marry him. And it's messed up, I know, but it's the reality of it. So this turns into like this big argument to where they're like screaming at Susan like, what do you mean? You can save this family. We don't have to work as hard anymore. Da, 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 da. Susan is like, if y'all make me marry this man, I'm going to run away. I don't care. I'm going to run away. But they don't care because guess what? The dad ends up calling the man behind Susan's back and saying, yes, Susan will marry him. So when she went to work the next day, the guy was there and the guy was like, oh my God, there's my bride. And Susan is like, what do you mean? And the guy told Susan that her dad called and said, basically gave the okay and they will be getting married. So Susan is devastated because she's seen like some of her friends, what happens to them in these marriages. They get abused. It's just bad and she's terrified. So when she goes home, she was being serious about running away. She starts to pack her stuff to run away. And one of her siblings sees her doing that, goes to her dad and tells her that Susan is actually about to run away. So dad comes back. He comes back and he beats Susan because she was going to try to run away. And then after he did that, he looks at her and says, it's okay because I got something for you. The dad then proceeded to go to a voodoo priest to do a love spell on Susan so that she can willingly marry this man without all this fight. He goes there, the voodoo priest did what he had to do, told him what he had to do, and he did it, and it worked. It worked. The way that he did it was through food. The food that, you know, they gave Susan made her all of a sudden be in love with this man. The thing about love spells is that it's against their will. Although it seems like she was in love with this man, she wasn't because it wasn't her. But she couldn't control it either. Like, she's willingly doing things for him and she's willingly preparing for the wedding day and stuff like that. The whole family's happy. The whole family is happy because Susan all of a sudden loves this man. And they're about to be rich because they're about to have all this money. And long story short, Susan does end up marrying that man. And once the love spell thing wore off, she hated her life. She hated her marriage. Like, she hated everything about what she was going through. And about a year later, so a year later, she would be 12 years old. About a year later, she ended up being pregnant. And when she found out she was pregnant, unfortunately, she unalived herself. Unfortunately, this story does not have a happy ending, but it just goes to show how much some of us really are privileged, because this is real life. People really go through this kind of stuff. And it also makes my heart break because I don't know if y'all know Dora. She recently passed away, and she was this great woman that adopted over 500 kids, saved them from child marriages and abusive households. And a lot of people weren't happy about that. A lot of men weren't happy about that. Me personally, I feel like her death was definitely, I don't want to speak on things that I don't know, but I do feel like she didn't willingly go. And I feel as though it needs to be investigated. When I saw that she passed away, y'all, I was so heartbroken because she was literally saving people like Susan. Kids like Susan. She provided them with school, food, a living, health insurance, you know? But hey,